Welcome to the Ho Ho Show, rated the #1 most listened to podcast on Pluto. So join us now as we discuss news, politics, current events, and so much more. So clear the airways and strap in as we defend the Constitution. Because freedom matters.
All right, we are broadcasting live from the Cottage Studio. You can check out my website, thehohoshow.com. I'm all over the place on social media and a proud member of Weaponized Sloth Productions. So welcome to the Ho Ho Show, and as always, I am your host, Ho Ho. And if you guys would like to follow along with the madness, and you can check out the magazine on Flipboard, my go-to hub, my one-stop shop for anything, everything, and all things news, and I really screwed that up. All right, and you know what? I am not the only one that screws stuff up in Weaponized Sloth Productions. I was watching the Machine Radio Show, hosted by Brandon Gatton, and this wasn't the most recent show, but the last show. And let's just say he stumbled all over himself. And I got a small clip. I got to share it with you. I laughed and rewound it so many times. It was hilarious.
But this is okay. Yeah.
I know. I had to, though. I mean, it was so funny. So, welcome, everybody. Welcome, Spreaker. Welcome, Twitch, YouTube, Mixer, Periscope, and Facebook. How y'all's doing? Hope you guys are doing good. And am I sounding okay? Actually, I'm kind of curious on that because it sounds a little weird in my headphones. I don't know. I don't know if it's, I don't know. I don't know what it is. It just sounds kind of weird. It looks fine. You know, the audio, it seems like it's all there and everything. I don't know. So we got quite a few things to talk about today. And we're going to start off first with a topic that was brought to my attention by Miss Linda Irwin, the host of Awesome Insanity Surfers, wonderful, wonderful person. And she got my eyes set towards, looking at, the FTC with the COPPA things that YouTube has been, changing their policies on and whatnot. And we're also going to be doing more into YouTube as well. But first off, let's just go ahead and start off with this whole COPPA things, because if you are a YouTube creator, then you have noticed that you've got an extra step that you have to do whenever you are posting a video and any of that kind of stuff. And that is, putting in there whether your content is geared towards, children 13 years of age and under. Okay. And as what that is wrapped around is, well, hold on, let me get rid of a couple things here. Crap, not that one. Okay, there we go. FTC, and that's the Federal Trade Commission, for those of you that did not know. They have this bill that was passed, an act actually, and that's the COPPA Act, and that stands for Children's Online Privacy Protection Act. Now this, again, this is something that dates back to 1998. This isn't anything new. But as a content creator now on YouTube, and hello, Daryl over there in Facebook land. Good to see you, sir. But as a YouTube creator, you guys may have known this whole thing coming through on that and whatnot. And more or less is all this amounts to. And of which case, why YouTube is forcing, content creators to do it, I really have no idea. And really, the short and skinny of it is they're being lazy. That's more or less what it amounts to, okay? They're being lazy, and instead of doing a blanket thing for everybody, I guess they're only, YouTube is demanding that the content creators more or less take care of this little thing itself, and just more or less saying whether their content is geared towards, children 13 years of age and under. Now, here's more or less what it amounts to, okay? This whole COPPA Act more or less says that if you are a website, okay, and this more or less pertains to advertising and different things like that, because you guys know that Google, they track a lot of stuff. They look at what you look at, they pay attention to everything, and they sell that information to, ad campaigns, different things of that nature. I mean, nothing is free, guys. That's why whenever you search something in Amazon or whatever, you'll end up seeing an ad or whatnot pop up in Facebook. This is how this happens. Okay. This is how this happens. So of course, they're wanting to, with this Child Protection Act, which more or less says that you cannot obtain personal information from children 13 years of age and under without verifiable parental consent. Okay, that's what the COPPA Act is in a nutshell. Okay, you can't, obtain personal identification from children 13 years of age or under. So YouTube, in order to try to protect themselves, instead of them doing it themselves, they have passed that responsibility to say whether your content is geared for 13 years of age or younger children, so that this way they know how to more or less use their ad campaigns. Now, here's another aspect of this, okay? They are really going into the avenue. They're kind of doing a lot of things to change direction. I mean, their privacy policies are about ready to change again. And in all honesty, this is going to have a huge impact, some negative impact with a lot of different content creators. Okay. Now here's the thing with YouTube. Okay. Their bread and butter has been with, the individual content creator, people like me, people like just, PewDiePie. There's a butt ton of them out there. That's where their bread and butter has been. Okay. But the problem is they are wanting to kind of expand their horizons. Okay. They're wanting to get more. They're wanting to expand their horizons. Let's just keep it like that. Okay. And they're wanting to have their content more geared towards advertisers to where they can sell it. Okay. It's advertised based content. That's what they're trying to do. So, that's another aspect of this whole COPPA thing, because they're wanting to do more advertising, but they have to know under, what viewers, what content creators they can do this under. That's kind of why they're doing it. And they're also making a gear towards, really making it harder for individual content creators to, put their stuff out there and keep their platform alive if they aren't considered, marketable. Okay. That's more or less the term that they're using is marketable. And, they've done a lot of different things, a lot of different people that they've monetized. And some of these different changes that they've done on YouTube, in all honesty, boiled down to one of the things that happened with, Steven Crowder on his channel, Louder with Crowder. If you guys follow him at all, which I am a fan, they did, they completely demonetized him, shadow banned him, because he basically had a point of view and a stance on things that they didn't like. And so they demonetized him and worked towards, shadow banning him. Okay. There's a lot of information out there, if you guys are a fan of his, then you guys pretty well know what I'm talking about on that. And again, with the not being marketable, they are going to make ways into just getting rid of people and getting rid of their channel and all that other kind of good nonsense. Okay. The question you may ask yourself is why? If YouTube's bread and butter all these years has been the individual content creator, then why are they doing these things to hinder the individual content creator? It's a good question. What it more or less boils down to is you have all kinds of different streaming platforms out there. Okay. That's what you got. You got a butt ton of different streaming platforms out there. Apple has their own streaming platform. You've got Disney Plus, you've got Hulu, you've got Netflix, and of which case YouTube wants to kind of shift their platform into that area. Okay. They're wanting to attract more, they're wanting to attract more of the, companies that make, like the Mandalorian. That's what they're wanting to do. They're wanting to change their type of viewership because Google doesn't have a streaming service like Netflix, like Android streaming service. They have YouTube. But so they're kind of kicking their content creators to the side because, let's face it, a lot of different content creators out there, they've, got burned out from it because you have to be on it whenever it comes to releasing content. You got to do this on a regular basis. You got to do this. Some of these guys do it daily. I mean, you have to be on a schedule in order to make it. That's how the algorithms work. So a lot of people, a lot of different content creators out there that are like some of the, big revenue generators for YouTube. Some of these guys have burned out. Okay. Now, I'm not saying this has been a huge hit towards YouTube. I really don't know. I don't know their numbers. I don't know any of that crap. I really don't. But they're trying to kind of get rid of that, questionable, whether this, these content creators are going to stay big and all this other kind of crap. And that's why they're kind of redoing their platform to be more of a mainstream thing. Okay. Now, another aspect of this, and another reason behind this, or another push from this, it's from mainstream media itself. Because, let's face it, people that are on the right, more right-leaning, people who are more like me, not Republican, not Democrat, more, conservative, more patriot, more patriot, individual patriot, more of a libertarian type of a person. We don't get our news from mainstream media. And with the, 2020 elections coming up, they really don't want voices like, Ben Shapiro, Steven Crowder, all these other people. They do not want them to have a platform and basically sway the vote towards a more Republican, more a right-leaning person. They don't want that. They want the power of the news, the power of politics, the power of shaping the culture to go back to and stay in the hands of mainstream media. That's what they want. And that's another aspect of what is driving Google to do all these changes that they're doing. Okay. That's more or less the short and skinny of it. That's more or less what it boils down to. There's other facts in here, and I would definitely recommend going to, heck, all I did was do a simple FTC COPPA search on there, and it brought me to the page with some explanation on here, and there you guys can look at that right there. That's the channel. Or not the channel, but that's the web page. If you guys are viewing the show, there you go, right down in there. All right, so we're going to go ahead and take a quick break, and when I get back, guys, we're going to be talking about the more or less the meat of the show, the death of a party. Okay, so just a couple minutes, and I will be right back. This is the Ho Ho Show. All right, welcome back. All right, guys. So the crux of the show, and of which case, actually, okay, I got a small housekeeping thing. I got to tell you guys about. You guys know that I use Flipboard for my hub. That just makes everything easier. My one-stop shop, all that good stuff. Well, unfortunately, I guess unfortunately, Flipboard is kind of, they've done an update to their system, an update to their, their webpage, platform, whatever. And you see, before is what I was able to do was embed the magazine onto my blog, which is what the newsfeed tab is that it goes to that on my website, thehohoshow.com. Unfortunately, considering they changed that, now instead of, this awesome, neat looking thing on there, you have this link that, this isn't even clickable. You got to go into it. And it's like, come on, man. Why couldn't you have just kept that option in there? So, I don't know. I don't know if it was an oversight. I don't know if they did it on purpose. I don't know if, what it is. I don't know. Hopefully they get, the embed option back. I really hope they do. Flipboard, if you're listening, you're not. But if you are, put that back in there. Come on, man. It helps. It's awesome. It's amazing. So there's that. All right. So back to it. Now, I'm sure you guys, just like me, are kind of sick and tired of this whole impeachment gate, all this crap. It's nonsense, okay? It's complete nonsense. Let's just not even get into that. But here's the thing, guys. With the political temperature of things right now, one of the two political parties, they're dead, okay? And truth be told, and anybody on the right knows this, especially if you are, somebody like me, that really doesn't have a party affiliation, because the Republican Party, we all know, is nothing more than just the right-leaning branch of the Democratic Party, that it's really not true Republican. It's not an opposition party much anymore. We all know this, okay? So there's real problems that's coming down, okay? Because with this whole impeachment, one of the things that, let's just face it boils down to, they do not believe that they're going to win the 2020 election, so they're doing this whole impeachment to try to ruin his opportunity, President Trump's opportunity, to win re-election. That's what it boils down to. Everybody knows it, okay? The Democratic Party have even lost some of their representatives. Let me try to pull up that article. Yeah, here we go. Representative Jeff Van Drew is expected to switch parties and become a Republican. This out of Axios. And there's several other articles just like this one that is out. Okay, there's from Jeff. He is the Democratic congressman from New Jersey, I believe. Okay, now this isn't the only headline out there that says the same thing, and it actually says that even more Democrats are switching parties, or at least, whenever it comes to impeachment, is not supporting Democrats. They're having issues with this because it is a completely political hack job. Okay, so they're bleeding people as it is. All right. So here's why I consider this a death of a party. Okay. Because depending on how this plays out, and this is something that Democrats have actually done. Let me kind of switch gears a little bit. This is something that Democrats has been doing for quite some time. Okay, is anytime a Republican wins, they get their butt hurt, their panties get into a bunch, and they basically claim that election as invalid, and they don't recognize the president as the actual president. They've done it with Trump, President Trump. They've done it with George Bush. They've done it with a few different people, okay? So this isn't anything new, and you have a real problem whenever you have a party that is unwilling to accept the results of an election. You have a big problem with that, because what do you have? People who feel disenfranchised. That's what you have. People who feel like they're, the government has turned their back on them. that they don't matter, this, that, and the other. Okay, that's what you have. That's where revolutions come from. That's how our revolution started, is because we were not represented in the governing process in Great Britain, and that's how this whole thing started. Okay, so this is very dangerous for the Democrats to be doing. Okay. Now, the problem is, for the Democrats at least, is that the majority of the party, at least people whom are Democrat, they acknowledge this. They understand this. They understand what's going on, and they're not so far left that they don't see this. Okay, because the majority of the Democratic Party are more center. You know, that's why Joe Biden is doing so good in the polls, is because they're not so bat-you-know-what crazy to support people like Bernie Sanders, even though he, really, really close won last time around. And the only reason why he did is because of the super delegates on the Democratic, with the Democratic primary. But, Elizabeth Warren is already out. Well, who is that lady that's already out? It's not Elizabeth Warren. Is it Elizabeth Warren? I remember. But she's gone. Okay. So they know that they don't have anybody in the lineup that can really beat Trump, and they are really questioning Joe Biden's ability, especially if they go head to head in a debate. They're really questioning his ability to beat President Trump. They don't see it happening. Okay. So they've already decided, and this is one of the things that they have said. They've already decided that if they don't get rid of Trump, he's going to win the 2020 election. He's going to cheat. He's going to steal it. He's going to take it. They're already accusing him of that. And we're still a year away from an election. And they've already accused him of stealing the 2020 election. So darn good and well, especially considering he's basically been under impeachment for 2.5 years. What did he do 2.5 years ago to justify getting him impeached? He became president. So they've already determined what they're going to do. This isn't or shouldn't be any surprise to anybody. This shouldn't be a surprise to anybody at all, whatsoever. So let's continue on with it a little bit. So you've already have the Democratic Party deciding that they are not going to, if President Trump wins, re-election, they're not going to acknowledge the results. Very, very shaky, very bad terms. Okay. If they don't, what's going to happen to the Democratic Party? Is it going to split? Are you going to have a more radical left and a more moderate center on the Democratic side? What are you going to have? If the president does not get removed from office, does not get impeached and removed from office, and he doesn't, President Trump doesn't win the re-election, and let's just assume that, he doesn't win on fair terms, not that the Democratic Party, had anything. Yeah, let's not even get into that. But are the Democrats really going to, or I'm sorry, is the Republican side, is the right really going to support the election? Are they going to acknowledge the election, or are you going to have a removal of the Republican Party? Is the base that really ensures the Republicans' victory? Because let's face it, it was the disenfranchised right, those who aren't really Republicans, but those who vote that way because we don't really have a whole heck of a lot of choice, especially whenever it comes to the Democratic side, to vote for somebody that we really want to support in Washington, those whom are constitutional conservatives, those who are individual patriots, those who do have more libertarian leanings. We're the ones who have supported and helped the Republicans even get in the office in the first place. What's going to happen if they don't support the base that put them in office? Are you going to have an uprising of a third party? Is that going to make the third party necessary at that point? I mean, let's face it. That's the whole reason why the Republican Party was formed in the first place. It was because the Whigs, if I'm remembering my history correctly, it's because they were detached from their base. That's what happened. And not only are you seeing that on the Republican side, you're also seeing that on the Democratic side because they have gone far left. So far left that even, former President Bill Clinton Barack Obama is even like, you guys are kind of going nuts here. He is even warning the Democratic Party to settle it down a little bit. Otherwise, you're going to lose the election to President Trump again. He's been saying that. So what does that mean to the 2020 elections? What does that mean to our political, what does that mean to us coming forward? Does that mean that we have, the Democratic Party is dead? Does that mean that the Republican Party is dead? Does that mean that we're going to have, within the next decade, another civil war? It's possible. Does that mean we're going to have a complete restructuring of the political parties in our nation? I think that's already on its way. I think that more than anything else at this particular point in time is going to happen. The Democrats they've lost. They know they've lost. They've lost bad. And they're not willing to accept an outcome where they don't win. And when you think about it, man, this was actually hilarious. If you guys remember back in 2016, their fear, the Republicans were afraid that if President Trump did not get the nomination, that he would just spin off and become independent and run anyway. They made him sign a pledge or whatever, saying that he wouldn't do that in order to even allow him to, be in the debates, in the primary debates. Wasn't that part of it? Yeah. They already forced him to do that. And you have the Democrats that are like, we don't trust President Trump. He's not going to accept, he's not going to accept the outcome of the Electoral College, yada, yada, blah, blah. And come to find out, after everything was called, who was it that lost? Hillary. Who was it that didn't want to accept the outcome from the Electoral College? It was Hillary. And ever since then, it was he stole the election. That's what it's been. The whole entire time. That's what it's been. We're really going to have, we got some hard times ahead of us, guys. I mean, we really do. We really do. Politically speaking, we really do. And this isn't even talking about a whole, another revolution, because this is just a political thing at this particular point in time. Where does it go from here? Politically, where does it go from here? Okay? That's the question. Where does it go? I've got a couple other things to talk about. This really short show, guys. This isn't going to be maybe even 10 minutes longer. That's it. This is going to be a short one, because that's been all it pretty much amounts to is this. But, okay, if you guys have paid attention at all recently, you guys may have noticed, going through the supermarket, looking at the magazines, there is just a lovely, amazing person as the person of the year in Time magazine. Okay. And of course, this is Greta Thunberg. Greta. This is Greta.
How dare you?
Yeah, I dare. Yeah. And now here, guys, being the Time magazine person of the year isn't really anything what I would consider huge. Stalin was Time magazine person of the year. Hitler was, person of the year. There's been quite a few others. What's sad is that you have her as person of the year whenever you have, there was somebody whom made some type of an enzyme or whatever that can consume plastics to where it's no longer a non-biodegradable thing. You had somebody whom did something else with cleaning up garbage in the ocean that was really, really amazing. And is this person getting nominated for Person of the Year? No. Instead, we nominate somebody like...
How dare you?
Absolutely. And how dare they... whatever. It's a farce, guys. It really is. But it cracked me up. I thought it was funny. It's like, really? That's what we're going to do? Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, guys. That's really all I got. Half-hour show. That's it. That's it. All right, guys. Well, y'all have yourself a great one. Next week, what is next week? Oh yeah, next week, Saturday before Christmas. We'll be doing a show. So I will see you guys next week. Good night, sleep tight, and if them bed bugs bite, well, by golly, bite them back. Take care, guys. This has been The Ho-Ho Show. For more information, you can head on over to thehohoshow.com. And for all things Weaponized Sloth Productions related, you can head on over to WSPFM.com. Until next time.